Hi, my name is Brenda Dudkovich, and I have a question for you. Do you know what kills more people every year than car accidents? The opioid crisis. Today we're going to demonstrate that the opioid crisis is a problem in our local community and provide a solution to it. The opioid crisis or epidemic describes the jump in opioid-related overdose deaths in the United States starting in the 1990s. We will discuss the effects of opioids on its users along with the effects on the United States, Indiana, and Delaware County. We will then discuss the root causes of the opioid epidemic. From there, we will discuss criteria for which we use to decide on the best solution. To start off, what are opioids? Opioids are drugs formulated to replicate the pain-reducing properties of opium. These include both legal painkillers, such as morphine, oxycodone, hydrocodone, and they're prescribed by doctors for people with acute or chronic pain. They also include drugs such as heroin or illicitly made fentanyl, and the word opioid is derived from the word opium. Opiates such as morphine and codeine are naturally derived from opium poppy plants that are commonly grown in Asia, Central America, and South America. Heroin is the illegal drug that is synthesized from morphine. Hydrocodone and oxycodone are semi-synthetic opioids manufactured in labs with natural and synthetic ingredients. According to CNN, between 2007 and 2016, the most widely prescribed opioid was hydrocodone, or Vicodin. In 2016, 6.2 hydrocodone pills were distributed nationwide. The second most prevalent opioid was oxycodone, or Percocet, and in 2016, 5 billion oxycodone tablets were distributed in the United States. The International Narcotics Control Board reported in 2015 that Americans represented about 99.7% of the world's hydrocodone consumption. Fentanyl is a fully synthetic opioid originally developed as a powerful anesthetic for surgery. It's administered to relieve severe pain associated with terminal illnesses like cancer, and the drug is 100 times more powerful than morphine. Small doses can be deadly, and it's illicitly produced and has been driving a factor in the number of overdose deaths in recent years. Methadone is another fully synthetic opioid, and it's dispensed to recovering heroin addicts to help with withdrawal symptoms. Opioid use disorder is the clinical term used for opioid addiction or abuse. People who become dependent on pain pills may switch to heroin because it's less expensive than prescription drugs. And the National Institute on Drug Abuse estimates that half of young people who inject heroin start by abusing painkillers, and that 3 in 4 new heroin users started out using prescription drugs. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the effects of opioids on its users. Opioids bind to receptors in the brain and spinal cord, disrupting pain signals. They also activate the reward areas in the brain by releasing the hormone dopamine, and it creates a feeling of euphoria or high. Opioids can depress breathing by changing neurochemical activity in the brain stem, where the automatic body functions such as breathing and heart rate are controlled. So when people are overdosing, they're literally just stopping breathing because their brain is not telling them to breathe. People who become dependent on opioids may experience withdrawal symptoms when they stop taking pills or heroin. And dependence is often coupled with tolerance, and that means that people need to be taking increasingly larger doses of the medication for the same effect. So now I'm going to touch on community effects. So currently in our local community of Delaware County, there are 400 children displaced by parents who are heroin addicts or opioid abusers. And situations like these have increased 20% in Indiana. These 400 children in Delaware County are currently awaiting court-appointed special advocates or CASAs to work with them as they wait for and hope that their parents can overcome their addiction. And 42,000 people died in 2016 of opioid addiction. And the cost of care in the United States alone is at $78 billion. So it's really important that we continue to fund things like CASA because they're important for the community. Now I will hand you off to Caitlin, and she will discuss some of the causes of the opioid crisis.